2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brandon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
How do I be honest with my wife about my desire for sex and not trigger her?
This is going to be an on. Welcome to the Real Talk Recovery Podcast with the Therapy Brothers.
We're brothers, we're therapists, and we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery. Episode today, Brandon. It's not all the time we get an actual couple coming on together to talk with us, so this is going to be a good one. But before we do that, just a couple of things. First thing is just we have had some people reach out to us, and you might be listening right now wondering how you can actually come on the show. It's really simple. We love to have you know, real people with real problems make this show so much better than Brandon and I just talking at each other all the time. So there are some spots that are open. realtalkrecovery.com, realtalkrecovery.com. And you just go to this, submit a question, you hit that button, and there's a way to schedule yourself to come and talk to both Brandon and I if you're interested.
Yep. That'd be awesome. We'd love to have you guys on. So Tyler, we had quite the weekend. I mean,
it was awesome, man.
Yeah, you've got a steady dose of me in the last few days. So
you're not sick of me yet.
And I never get sick of you, man. You're my favorite.
We had a good time. We actually ended up in Texas with some family, with our cousin, and then a really random friend from Brazil came with us this year, and it was just a boys' trip, and it was. Man, there's a lot of power to just having those little timeouts to kind of hit the reset button.
Yeah, we had this, we call it golden hour, where we're on the boat and the sun's setting and we're with the boys, we're listening to music, and we started playing like spiritual music while you were like wake surfing. It was like,
it's not your typical boys trip, right?
Yeah.
You guys are playing some spiritual song with the sunset behind me, and it was just like, it was glorious, man.
I was just like shedding tears as my brother was just like catching the wave. It was beautiful.
Being in the moment. Yeah. So
anyways,
it was a good time.
Yeah. So let's dive in with Kevin and Jen. So welcome to the show, you guys.
Thanks. Excited to be here.
Thank you.
If you could just give us a little bit of background and some context to your guys' situation, and then ask away.
Sure thing, Brandon. So my story kind of starts, I was raised in a very conservative Christian family. We were not very intimate. We didn't ever discuss sex. It was kind of a taboo subject. Growing up, and as a preteen into teenager, a natural curiosity was aroused, and no where to get the information other than through school, through pornography, masturbation, kind of exploring. But at the same time, with that religious background, feeling a lot of shame and guilt, not understanding what I was getting into. And that developed unknown to me at the time into an addictive cycle where I would feel these desires, I would act out, have a ton of guilt and shame. And I couldn't talk about it to anybody because that was such a dirty thing to talk about and a taboo subject. And I didn't know at the time my dad was struggling with his own addictive behaviors, sexual addiction. And then I would go to church leaders at times and talk to them about this bad habit that I had, and none of their advice, none of their counsel really ever helped me. Looking back, I think it probably made things worse. And so as I grew up, went off to college, and then eventually met Jen, and we're getting ready to get married, it was something I could never talk about. And I thought, well, hey, maybe when I get married, things are going to get better. This desire to act out, I won't need pornography. I won't need masturbation anymore. And so I didn't tell her anything of my past or what was going on. I just kind of would have those, act out, repent, be sober for as long as I could until the cycle started again. And that's where our story kind of starts together.
Sure. And just a little bit, I was raised in a similar home, but developed almost an opposite relationship with sexuality. And I think it's really common for these conservative upbringings, whereas Kevin was kind of more, I think of it almost like a sexual bulimic, where he'd, indulge, purge, go through this period of shame and guilt, et cetera. And then I was on the opposite end, where I was always taught that my relationship to sexuality, it was important that I shut it down, that it was better for me to be a sexual anorexic because my value was really based on being virtuous, right? And not.
It was a good thing. It was righteous. It was.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so we entered this marriage. We're both, sexually very unhealthy. And we had no ability to discuss our sexuality where we were at. We were having sex regularly. We now have a bunch of kids, and then pretty early on in our marriage, I knew that there was a problem with pornography and masturbation. I made the huge mistake, looking back now, of telling Kevin that if he continued to do it, that I would leave him. And that led to 8 more years of hiding and shame until he finally came to that rock bottom. So,
yeah, when I finally realized that I had an addiction and that things were never going to get better, and I was willing to do whatever it took, that was a big moment for me, just realizing this wasn't a habit, something that I could overcome on my own, but that I needed additional help. And so I didn't know how to go about that. All I knew is I had to let Jen know what was going on. And that was our D-Day, as awful as it was, and just kind of unloaded on her 8 years of hiding this addiction. But for me, it was the beginning of recovery. But I still, from then forward, in the subsequent about 5-6 years, I found your podcast, started to understand the difference between sobriety and recovery. I've been going to 12-step groups since that D-Day, but I found a lot of the focus early, was on that sobriety. And as I began to understand what real recovery was and made those shifts, I still felt like I wanted to be open and honest because that's what really changed things for me. But there's still this shame surrounding discussing sexuality. So when I feel, hey, I'm starting to feel triggered, or I feel sexual desire, I have this hesitancy to talk about it because of my past and because of the shame and how, my upbringing taught me that sexuality is something we don't talk about. And then on top of that, I know that if I bring it up and I say, hey, this is what I'm feeling, or this is what I'm starting to feel a little bit tempted, that now I'm heaping this sense of obligation onto my wife, like, hey, I have this need and I need you to meet it now. And that's not what I want. I want to be able to discuss openly how I'm feeling, but in a way that's healthy, that allows me to overcome my shame, So some communication techniques there without pushing onto her this sense of duty or obligation, which shuts her down.
Right. When was D-Day for you guys? Like, how long have you guys been working this process since that D-Day where you actually came out and didn't just get caught?
That was about 7.5 years ago.
It was January of 2016. So yeah. So 6.5, but it's been quite a road since then. Finding recovery, originally Betrayed Addicted and the Expert podcast, and now your podcast, a lot of things that as we went through our 12-step programs, the podcast really helped connect a lot of the things that are in the 12 steps and help me understand application. And so that's why even still, we're I'm starting to feel a little bit of, sexual desire. Like, how do I talk about that in a way that's healthy? That it's really, to me, feels like a bid for connection, intimacy, but at the same time, it's triggering for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, Jen, the way you said that. It's, if you called him sort of like the bulimic in the way he handled his sexuality, and you might have been more of the anorexic in the way that you handled your sexuality. The interesting thing about the commonality between those two things is you put two people together in a relationship, and it doesn't matter if it's the anorexic or the bulimic. The common factors are shame, and shame leads to a lack of willingness to talk about it. And so now all of a sudden, here you are, a couple who loves each other, who's actually sexually active with each other. You're having kids with each other, and yet there's still not the ability to communicate at all with each other because there's this like set of constructs that we're operating from that doesn't allow for us to even have those discussions. Right.
Right.
And who benefits from that scenario, from that equation? Who benefits from that?
Right. Like I feel that over time, like you guys always talk about, like honesty and empathy over time leads to trust. And I feel that we're getting there slowly but surely in so many aspects. But this idea, this surrounding sex, it's our biggest sticking point, because we know like that fulfilling, wonderful sex, it's never from obligation. So how to get out of that? And that's where we're struggling.
Question for you guys. And you'll hear the question, you'll know the answer, but you might not believe it. So is sex bad?
No, sex is wonderful. But
okay. Is sex the problem? Sexuality the problem here?
No, I think it's those core beliefs we were raised with that instilled a lot of shame surrounding sex, and that's hard to overcome. But
what those core beliefs have served a purpose, if you think about it. So, like, what are some of those core beliefs? Maybe each one of you could think of one and share one. Like, what's a core belief that you have around sex?
That it brings us closer together because we believe in fidelity, that it's something we experience just with each other.
Oh, okay. So Jen, you actually gave me a core belief that I really like that is true, I believe.
Yes, absolutely.
But I'm looking more for the faulty core beliefs around the shameful beliefs that you have around sex. Like what are some of those that you have?
What would you say? For me, growing up, it was, we just don't talk about it. Like, it is not that it was sacred or that it was special, but that it was a necessary but kind of dirty thing that in polite society we never broached the subject.
Sex is dirty.
Well, okay, so let me dig a little with you here, Kevin. So if we don't talk about it and it's dirty, yet you're enjoying pornography or you're sexual or you're this, then what does that mean about you?
And that's where my personal struggles came from. A lot of self-loathing, a lot of hatred towards my sexuality. Yeah. If I wanted to be a good, righteous person, and yet I felt that there's this part of me that desired things that were carnal and sensual and devilish, as we read in the scriptures. And so I couldn't ever put those two in alignment, that I felt this incongruence in my life that half of me wanted to be carnal and half of me wanted to be good. And I couldn't get those two to be in alignment. And so when I would act out, I would go into periods of hatred and shame and be very down on myself physically. And I could never come to a point where if I even thought of sex, that I didn't also think that by having those thoughts, I was shameful and I couldn't let other people see who I really was. That here I am, this overly sexual being who has a very carnal side to him. And yet people don't see that side of me. They see this upstanding, righteous young man. And I have to keep that shame hidden, because if they saw that, they would know who I really was.
So there you go, Kevin. So sexual self-rejection and shame was actually a good thing because it was a way to control it and force you to not act out in these carnal, sinful, awful ways. Yes. Was kind of the system that you were operating, which you can hear in there is like, sexuality is bad. It's just a bad thing. It's, and I really like what you said before, Jen, of like, it's a good thing, right? But I want to ask you, Jen, what are some of your beliefs, maybe independent of Kevin, or around sex and the way you were raised when it comes to shame?
Well, definitely grew up with the idea, and even some of the women who I look up to and respect and admire the most now have said things like, well, it's your job, it's your duty to keep your man happy. Mm-hmm. And I know that they were well-intentioned, but that is something that is a huge hurdle for me to.
Do you feel that press on you all the time?
Yeah. I mean, I do feel I've done a couple of courses to help understand that it's okay for me to have my own sexual desires and how to access that. And so progress is coming, but still there's just this lingering belief that it's my job. And I feel that the addiction or kind of compounds that. Like I have an image in my mind of someone who, if I was to meet somebody on the street and they were like, oh, I'm so hungry, I would feel it's my job as a good person to go and give them some food. Right. And so when my husband, who I love, is like, hey, like I'm starting to feel a little bit tempted, or, I'm feeling a lot of sexual desire, I feel like it's that flip switches and I'm like, okay, well, I want to help you because I love you. Mm-hmm. And so how do but then helping,
yes,
it feels like an obligation.
It makes total sense. And then you add on to that when you, at least it's very common, like when you have some type of a compulsive sexual behavior or sexual addiction, that one of the core beliefs that goes along with it is that sex becomes my biggest need. Mm-hmm. And so I have a hard time learning to separate out that I can have sexual feelings, sexual desires, even sexual urges without actually acting on them, because it feels like they have to be one and the same. And so not only do you carry your own belief with that, Jen, there's this almost like force of the other belief coming, which is like, I am helpless. Like I'm going to act out if I don't, and so it's like, not that Kevin, you ever said that. I don't know if you ever did or not, but there's almost like a feeling that comes that's like, I actually feel that way. And then the spouse picks up on that too and says, oh, I'm now on the hook because he's being honest with me. And because there is this drive, and because we haven't learned how to separate the drive from the behavior itself, there's the pressure. And then of course, if it gets played out that way, then the connection in the relationship is actually, it almost like takes a withdrawal from the account in the relationship instead of putting a deposit.
Right.
Right.
I think you got to start with at the right spot. So like I want to ask both you guys, can you differentiate between, hey, I want to use you because I'm stressed out and tired and feeling shame or whatever it is. I'm uncomfortable. So I want to use you to escape, versus, hey, I want connection and I want to be intimate and I'm feeling that in our relationship. Can you guys differentiate between those energies, those feelings with each other?
I think a lot of time, yes. Early in recovery, no. that was difficult. But over the last 5-6 years, I think gotten better at separating out some of those feelings. But either way, I still feel like that fear that when I approach her and make that bid, that either I'm being overly sexual, like, hey, I need to be less sexual and not so carnal, or I'm going to trigger her in a way that she's going to feel this obligation. We had talked, over the past few years, and she had asked me, hey, is it easier for you to not feel triggered and tempted if we're having sex regularly? And well, honestly, yes, it is when we're having sex regularly. But I also sort of I recognize that we can't always do that. Like there's certain times a month, or if I'm, on a business trip or something that, there's things that preclude that from happening. So I think by me being honest about that, now she feels that if I say, hey, I'm feeling some sexual desire, that, well, put some fear into her mind that, okay, well, he's more likely to want to act out if I don't service that need.
Mm-hmm. So I have a couple of thoughts on that there, Kevin. But before I come to that, when Brandon asked the question, Jen, you gave such a good response that no one could see because it's verbal. What was your response or thought to what Brandon was asking?
That yes, definitely we can. There's a huge difference.
You can feel the difference.
Oh, 100%. And I think we're getting better at identifying it. And yet we don't know how to rectify the situation, because sometimes, after having sex, it'll be like, that was not, just, it feels different. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I think, there's a definite easy recognition of the problem, but we just don't yet possess the skills to know how to solve it.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, good. So this leads back into kind of where you were at, Kevin. Listen to what you guys just said, because this is actually a step in the right direction, that she comes to you and says, hey, is it easier for you to not act out if we're having sex regularly? And Kevin, the right answer for a lot of guys who are in the old style of recovery is to be like, nope, it's all on me. Right. But you just said, honestly, yeah, it is easier for me. Now, the trick is that, yes, it's easier for me. That's honest. Right. And it still doesn't mean that I need to put my wife on the hook in order to manage my addiction for me. Right. So there needs to be a both and here, which is, yeah, it actually is easier. And I'm in the process of doing the work. It doesn't matter if it's easier or it's hard. I only want to engage with you sexually when the energy is right for us to engage in a healthy way. And I can do that work. It's okay. Like you're not on the hook to fix that for me. So now your wife gets honesty, but she also gets your accountability for your side of the work. And hopefully it gives her a chance to go, oh, that's my work too. I don't need to take that on. Like I don't have to go fix him because he's having a hard day. Right. But we can have a conversation about it. We can support each other in that work.
What I'm seeing is and Tyler, tell me if you see this too, but I'm seeing a couple here who has come to the table with a lot of shame around sex. And then with sexuality, all this unhealthy attachment is there because there's all this fear and all this. And so that's how you guys started. And it's not fair, but that's how you started, right? And now you're to a point, well, I'm hearing really good stuff. You're to a point where you're wanting to be interdependent. You're wanting to own who you are and have those boundaries with each other and be separate enough so that you can be really connected and really healthy. But the thing about it is the way that real trust and safety is built is through strength. So when you know your partner has strength, you feel safe and you feel trust. And one of the best ways to know whether your partner has strength is their ability to sit in discomfort. So, for example, for Kevin to come and say, wow, I'm really triggered and whatever. And for you, Jen, to check in with yourself, not with, oh my gosh, is he going to act out? I better give myself to him. for you to say, I'm going to allow him to deal with his discomfort. He can, because I'm going to be honest about where I'm at, whether I want to have sex or not. Am I in a place to do, which you're then building trust with him, Jen, because you're doing something really uncomfortable, right? Sitting in that fear of, and you can see that. Can you see that interdependence at play there, where you're being more honest and grounded within yourselves and being uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense.
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jen. Were you going to say something else?
Just that that's hard.
Yeah.
Because it's undoing that messaging and that belief that it's my responsibility. And I think part of that responsibility, it comes out of a desire to be loving and to be supportive, right? And so it's not all bad, but it's not my truth, right? Like you can have both coexisting at the same time, like staying in your truth and not necessarily being what I think would be the vision of someone who's trying to help my husband. Those can both coexist.
That's exactly right. 100%. But being able to remember that and say, okay, because we so quickly jump into that either or position. And it's like, no, actually both are true. And I maybe just kind of talk through an example of what Brandon's talking about here. And Brandon, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are already there because the conversation is going from, I'm triggered, I don't know what to do. Oh, I better hurry and have sex with him so we can fix him. Now it's moving into this place. And this is where Brandon, I think you're going, is we can have a discussion about the things that are going on around the sexuality. So, oh, wow, my shame's kind of coming up, or I'm feeling triggered right now. Oh, there's a piece of me that wants to come and rescue you right now. But another piece of me says, that doesn't feel safe or good to me, but I'm willing to do it because I love you. But I also don't, it's going to hurt my self-respect. And, oh, well, I don't want you to hurt your self-respect. And I'm strong enough to manage my feelings. I'm just letting you know where I'm at. There's the conversation. Now the conversation has moved away from let's have sex or not to, hey, these are the inner workings that are going on. And, if I haven't had sex with my wife for multiple days and I can feel my own energy kicking up and I'm like, man, I really want to go pursue her and connect with her. And she can feel that from me, but she's had a really, really rough day with the kids. And, she's just not there mentally. And I kind of am pursuing her. And then she kind of goes, hey, Ty, I'm not really all the way there right now, but I'd be happy to participate if that's what you really need. And then she gets from me, instead of like, oh, okay, good. Like I can hurry and get that done. And instead she gets from me like, of course I want to do that with you, babe, right now. But I would rather wait until tomorrow or another time when we can both be more fully engaged. Now she gets big time trust coming through because she feels the strength of it all. And it's like, I'm still being honest. There's in this moment right now, I want to have sex with you and I can wait. Like, it's okay. I would rather have it be healthy. I'd rather have it be good for us and not just feel like I'm using you. And I can manage my feelings. And she's going to roll over and go like, oh man, is he triggered? Is he going to act out? Is he going to I got to do my work. And if I then do my work, then that's more trust too.
But Tyler, let's talk about the pursuit for a minute, right? So if you haven't had sex in a while and you want to have sex, you're pursuing your spouse to have sex. That's one thing. Yes. But I want to ask Kevin. Kevin, could it be healthy for you to want to have sex every day with Jen?
I don't see it necessarily unhealthy, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that would be unhealthy, but I would not want to be pressuring her into if I felt like I wanted to have sex every day, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Join the club, Kevin. I'm in the same club, Kevin.
Question for you. Do you want to have sex pretty much every day?
I mean, regularly. I don't know if it's necessarily every day, but it's most often when as the weekend approaches, it's very much on my mind, or if I have a holiday or,
okay.
When life is busy, it's easier to be like, oh, okay, we don't have time for that right now. But as soon as I start saying like, hey, we've got some free time, some time together, that's where my thoughts go. And that's when I start feeling like, hey, I want to.
Is that okay? Is that okay? I know I keep asking this. I'm trying to drive this home because I know you have this sexual self-rejection of, it must be bad. It must not be okay. It must be, I'm an unhealthy, overly sexual human who shouldn't be doing, right? And I just want to get clear, like, that's okay, right? That you desire sex that often, right?
Mentally, I can see that's okay. But I think there's still part of me that says, why is my sexual drives seem to be so much stronger than hers? Like, I'm this overbearing, over needy, like that child that just can't get enough and always wants more.
So, and I don't know if you've ever gone there, but have you ever gone to the place of maybe that's okay? Maybe that you have a much higher libido sexual drive than she does, and that's normal and okay. Like, fine.
I'm trying to get there.
And I can manage that drive. It doesn't mean I have to have sex. It doesn't mean I have to be needy. Like, seriously, it's okay. Like, we call it the daily quest for a reason. There's a drive. We look for the daily quest to have sex. A lot of times it's not healthy, but the drive itself is not unhealthy. It's the way that I manage my feelings that will either be within the realm of good health or unhealthy. Well, and that's what we're trying to learn here.
Well, Tyler, that's what I'm trying to get at too here is for Kevin before you even check in with Jen about, hey, do you want to have sex or not? Hey, maybe you need to check in with yourself first. And not check in with this self-rejection part of you that's like, I got to shut this down and this is bad. Not that part of you. But check in with yourself of like, why do I want to have sex? Well, maybe because I'm a sexual being and I'm just feeling that way today. Or, you know what? Like, I always want to have sex when work stress fires up. And like, I can't wait to get home and escape to that.
And there's nothing wrong with the feeling.
But yeah, that feeling's okay. But in that moment, maybe the answer to that isn't to go initiate sex.
That's right.
Again, maybe the answer to that is to do a work project and like bust it off. Or maybe the answer to that is go for a walk and release the stress that way before you're initiating there. Right. But for you to really be honest with yourself and clear with yourself without that self-rejection there, to figure out where are you at. Now, let's say you're checking in every day and every day it's like, I just want to have sex. And so Jen, he comes to you and he's initiating sex. And for you, this obligation piece is so common, yet I don't know if there's anything that kills a woman's sex drive more than pressure and obligation, you know?
Right.
And yet it's this thing of like, you know, even our moms and grandmas and women pass this down to women. Men take this on and say, yeah, well, where is it? You owe it to me, right? For you to be able to really challenge those things and realize I am not forced into this. This is not my obligation. He can come to me every day and I can sit in the discomfort of, we'll call it rejecting him. Mm-hmm. You know, 3 out of 4 times, whatever it is, like I'm good with, I'm not, not today. I'm not feeling it. Right.
It doesn't mean I don't love you. Of course I love you, but I'm not there right now.
I tell my wife, no is always a great answer. No is a great answer.
Even if I don't like it.
Yeah. And I can lay here uncomfortable dealing with my stuff. But thank you for saying no. Because I know in that no that she's giving me that it's leading to some pretty awesome sex that's coming up because she is feeling safe and boundaried and honest with me and knows that I can deal with my stuff.
And when she engages, she's doing it because she chooses to and allows herself to descend into it instead of feeling pressured to.
Yeah. Which is very different, right? Sure. What are you thinking, Jen? What's going through your mind?
No, that's great. I love that. You know, I feel the idea of, I think Kevin's gotten really good about speaking his truth about a lot of things. I think that's something that I really need to be better about. So I appreciate you pointing that out, especially in regards to sexuality and realizing like, I don't know, I guess I feel like there needs to be, it's funny you mentioned that, Tyler, about like 75% of the time, or, you know, I always felt like I needed to be showing up more often than I'm not. Don't get worried, but you know,
he's in a panic right now.
But no, there is a freedom in that. And I think that freedom leads to truer connection. And that's the goal of it all, right? Is being.
Yeah. And I think sometimes those bids saying, hey, you know, I want to have sex. A lot of times it's really wanting connection. And sometimes sex kind of gets in the way, you know, because if she caves and says, all right, well, let's just do it and get it over with, the energy's not there. And afterwards, it's like, you know what, it probably would have been more fulfilling to just watch a show or read a book or
do some other activity. Like slapjack.
You know, but it's just like, well, since you brought it up, you know, let's do that, you know. And sometimes it is just, I just want to connect. I want to, you know, I don't know if that's escaping the day or it's just, you know, we've been busy. We haven't been together as much, you know, it's been a long day. You know, I want to do something together. And naturally, you know, being a sexual guy, like my thoughts were like, what better way to be together and feel relaxed and fulfilled than to have sex. But if we can't do that, like, that's okay too. I think I'd be like, well, I'm not feeling in the mood for sex, but I would like to do this right now. I think I would still feel good about that. Like, okay, we can connect, we can do something and feel like we haven't just gone through the whole day apart, but we can come back together and we can do something and feel a little bit fulfilled at the end of the day, connected before we go to sleep and then start the next day.
It's interesting, the kind of masculine feminine thing, you know, and I don't want to generalize too much, but the masculine is consistent, is, you know, and the feminine is free flowing, up, down, and, you know, all over the place. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's interesting, like certain times of the month, with my wife, like there's no way I'm initiating sex. And I'm aware of when those times are. And I might make love to her that day by taking all the kids, getting the heck out of Dodge, and letting her take a bubble bath by herself and cry in the bathroom, right? And she knows I'm connected to her and where she's at and what's going on. And I might want to have sex that day. Hey, I desire sex, but I realize, you know what? Like, this is not the day, and I'm connected to that for her.
You're still connected to her too. You're not turning away. You're not pouting. You're not disconnecting.
I'll take it a step further. I'm loving that she's in that state of kind of hibernation and just, you know, being able to take care of herself in that moment. I like that because I know that's a healthy part of the cycle that's going on, right? And I guess my point is, Kevin, is my consistent sexuality is not a bad thing. And sex, I believe, is about making love, and it's being connected to your partner. And so my consistent sexuality can exist at the same time that my connection to her can exist and my love and respect for her can exist. So sometimes it's cuddle night, right? Because that's where we're at, and that's okay. And sometimes it's passionate, amazing sex night, right? And so it's different, and I'm aware of that. So sex, I don't want to say anything bad about sex to you, Kevin, because you've already like beaten it up for so long, but sexuality can be so damaging to a relationship when it's selfish. When it's selfish, it's about me, just me, and what I get, and where, and with Jen, your faulty or I wouldn't say your faulty beliefs about obligation. You mix those two things together. I want selfish sex. Oh, good. You have this belief that you're obligated to give it, and you have this other belief that if you don't give it, then I'm going to act out. Then you'll keep giving me bad sex that destroys our relationship. Do you see that?
That was the first, how many years of our marriage?
Right.
A decade. Yeah.
A decade.
But to be getting to the point where you guys are at right now, I think is you guys are doing some real heavy lifting that a lot of couples who would never even go through recovery ever get to. And there is this place where, like you can get to a spot in your relationship where if there is safety and trust and there's a deep level of connection on other parts of the relationship, then maybe I pursue my wife and she's not all the way there yet. Or maybe I am feeling a little bit stressed out. And because the rest of the relationship is working, she says, yeah, I still want to engage here, even though it's not like on the forefront of my mind. And it's not obligation at that point, right? And maybe that's not the best sex ever, but it's also not bad sex because it's two people who are loving each other, who see each other and are willing to share with each other, right? And on the vice versa, there might be days when I pursue my wife or, Brandon, your example, like she's just not there. It doesn't mean that I shouldn't show her that I love her, pursue her. But then when she says no, I don't make it about me again. I continue showing up, loving her, even though I still have all this discomfort on the inside. I'm fighting my own demons of shame, like, oh man, she's rejecting me. And oh, my physiology is lit up. It's like, yeah, that's my work to do. And I still can show her that she means enough to me to still want to stay connected and hold her hand or watch a show or do something else. And I can manage the rest of that. I'll figure that out. That's not a problem. And she can know that I feel that way. And that's okay too. She doesn't have to succumb to that because she sees my discomfort. She can trust that this is how I'm contributing today in a certain way. And that's okay.
Kevin, I want to ask you, can you feel when Jen is giving you obligation sex?
Oh yeah, very much.
Yeah. Okay. I want to challenge you. I want you to hold a boundary and for you to be able to say, I don't want to engage with you.
So a part of me really wants to, but I don't want to do this.
I would love to have sex with you, and I will not have sex with you when I'm feeling this from you because I want to create safety. You're laughing, Kevin. Like, I don't know if I can actually, if I'll actually do that. Right.
Yeah.
She's willing, but she's willing to give unhealthy sex. Right.
Yeah. We have at times, you start and you feel like, it's just not the right moment. But even that, I think that leads to some shame and guilt as well. It's like, I now pressured her to start and now she's feeling guilty that she, like,
yes.
Yeah. For me, it would probably be recognizing that right away and realizing like, hey, today's not the right day.
Yeah.
The moment you feel the shame is the moment that you accept Brandon's challenge.
Yeah.
Like you're like, it's like, yeah, okay, good. This is the reason why I need to listen to what Brandon said.
And
like,
Jen, you be very
different.
honest too, right? He might check in and say, I'm feeling like this is the unhealthy, obligatory kind of control sex. Is it? And you might say, no, like I want, and you need to be impeccable with your word then, right? Like where you're really checking in with yourself and saying, I'm going to be honest with him about this or not. And you're going to have to face that fear of, yikes, is he going to go act out? Is he going to go, in order for you to sit in the uncomfortableness of being honest, right? So, yeah.
But that also builds trust on the other side too. So if Kevin, you pursue your wife and she says, no, I'm actually okay, really, I can engage, then trust her.
Yeah, for you to take her word.
Trust her, take her word for it, because she gets a chance to be honest on the other side and say, actually, I wish I could say yes, but right now, if I'm being honest with myself, I'm just not there right now.
Trust her then.
Trust her.
Yeah.
Right. Let her have the chance to practice being authentic and, like Brandon said, impeccable with her word, and then accept that impeccability. And that will build trust and connection in the long run in the relationship.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of power in that phrase. I haven't really thought about it before, but if I'm being honest with myself, I really like that, as opposed to if I'm being honest with you, like first. That's
start with you.
Yes. I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, you guys were out of time, unfortunately.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And I do want to say, like, I guess it sounds like you've been on this journey with me for a while.
Yeah, we've lurked for like years.
Yeah. And I haven't known you. I met you today, and I just want to say thank you for giving me some trust, kind of following along. And I just love to see, this is what makes my work worth it, is to see people who have progressed. You're getting out of suffering. Just the fact that we've talked about what we've talked about today shows that you've done massive amounts of hard work, practiced a ton of courage, and you're on the right path. So just
your trajectory is good. It's really good. So hopefully we were helpful today. We kind of got a little bit all over the map. Hopefully we got to your question.
For sure.
But
Thank you.
All right, you guys, thank you. And we'll see you later. Goodbye.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.